Hi, John Kuzma here from EndZoneBlog.com. I want to talk about the Minnesota Vikings and what they did in the draft. Minnesota in the first round gets Garrett Bradbury out of North Carolina State. And in the second round, they go and get Smith Jr. These were two really good picks, and what it did is bolster the team's offense. Ever since Mike Zimmer was hired back in, I believe, 2014, Minnesota has had one of the top defenses in the league. That's because Mike Zimmer knows how to uh, mold each guy into his system and then produce favorable results. But Mike Zimmer doesn't specialize in offense, so he has to put more talent on the offensive side of the ball in order to balance things out and give his team a chance to succeed. Which is exactly why the Minnesota Vikings signed Kirk Cousins for almost $30 million a year. And while that was supposed to help them out on offense, it didn't really add up because the Minnesota Vikings didn't make the playoffs, and they should have been much better with having that. One of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league on their roster. So this year in the draft, GM Rick Spielman goes after Garrett Bradbury out of North Carolina State, like I said, who's someone who's going to help not only the running game, but he'll also help the passing game. You put him right in the middle of that offensive line. He's a first round talent as an offensive lineman, so he's going to handle his business up front. And what that does is that is really going to help Dalvin Cook. So now the Minnesota Vikings don't have to put it all on Kirk Cousins' shoulder. They can hand the ball off to Dalvin Cook and win games, just by keeping it on the ground. And that's less risky than asking Kirk Cousins to win every single contest. And then Smith Jr., I like this addition because you have Adam Thielen on one side, who's their best receiver. Then you have Stephon Diggs, who's actually a very good receiver himself. And then you put Smith Jr. right in the middle of those guys. And Smith Jr. is a lot faster than Kyle Rudolph is. I think he's going to provide much more of an impact. So where Smith's going to make his living is also down in the red zone. This is a guy who can run a flag route or run a post route and just make himself available for Cousins. And teams had to put so much concentration on Thielen and Diggs that you can't cover all these weapons. So I like what Spielman was thinking. I like what Zimmer was thinking. They're gonna do everything they can to try to catch the Chicago Bears in the NFC North. You can easily see their vision, what their game plan is, and because it is obvious, I think they have done a good job. If we don't know what a team's doing and we're just kind of scratching our heads, what's going on there, that's when you're kind of on a slippery slope. Instead, it's clear as day that Minnesota wants to get better on offense because they feel like, defensively with Mike Zimmer, they're not as good as Chicago just because Chicago is so loaded with talent, with Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks, Leonard Floyd, Eddie Jackson, the rest of those guys. But like I said, Zimmer can keep it close just because he's such a strong X and O's guy. And then, the hope is that where Minnesota can gain ground on the Chicago Bears is Kirk Cousins hopefully can outshine Mitchell Trubisky, and then Thielen, Diggs, and Smith Jr. can be better than Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel, Anthony Miller, Riley Ridley, and the rest of the guys they have on Chicago, Trey Burton. We'll see if everything works out for them. But personally, I like what the Minnesota Vikings did in the draft, and it should help them out on Sundays. Check out EndZoneBlog.com. I'm John Kuzma.